Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of the Leadership for the Now, or actually Leading on Monday today. And my name is Florin Lungu, and I'm so delighted to be with you today with another episode on the topic we started last week on talent retention. Today we're going to look at some of the things that we need to talk about with our people, things that are important to them and things that matter to them that maybe we don't feel that they are so important. And I'm joined by my colleague and Maxwell Leadership coach and trainer, Madalina Ghinescu. Welcome, Madalina.
Hey, Florin. Hello, everybody. So I prepared some questions for you to the second topic that we started last week with the first topic. And I would like to understand, well, not only me, but the people who are listening to us, what actually matters to the employees.
Yeah, that's that's the question. That's the $1 million question, and
$1
and
million,
us for
yeah.
exactly, and us leaders, we actually that's kind of our role and our mission is to understand what matters to our people. And while we know that each individual on our team are unique and they have unique motivators, and the answer to this question will be unique to everyone, and we also know that there are some things that are important to people, and as leaders sometimes we have a challenge to just bring those topics to the table. So for example, one taboo topic is money. you know how how many leaders are comfortable to talk about money and about salaries? And the reason being because it's sometimes there's some history in the organization for how the salaries were set. As a leader, when you offer salary raises, you have a budget, and then you have to make a decision to split that budget and recompense or reward people differently. And it's very difficult as as leaders to have that conversation with each individual and tell them, okay, you got this because, like, you need to kind of be able to explain your decision, right? And that's something that is difficult. So as leaders, sometimes we don't want to talk about money unless we really have to, and one of our employees will challenge us about that. But just know that this is important to people. I mean, at the end of the day, I know they come because you have a wonderful workplace, because you have a wonderful company, and they connect with the mission of the company. But they also come for the money. I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't pay our people, I don't know how many of them will show up.
Yeah, you are right with this taboo topic because yeah, talking about money not only in the corporate life but in life in general, it's a taboo topic. So especially when you have the challenge that one employee might have something to say about the discussion of the salary that they get. So it's another question that usually leaders don't know how to. Well, leaders at the beginning of their careers, they don't know how to handle that kind of money question. So maybe we
Absolutely.
can have another topic on that after we finish this
Probably.
series because
Yeah.
it's a
Uh,
big, big topic.
Absolutely. So the first thing is money, right? So while we
Yeah.
don't know exactly what matters to people, most people would probably want to know that you have a strategy about money, that you have a strategy for their career development, and that you have a strategy for growth opportunities. So in my experience and what I have seen up until now, these are quite generic or generally valuable, valid motivators and things that are important to people. So before we're able to learn more about them as individuals, and that I'm gonna share more about that too, these kind of are the three basic that we have to include in our discussions. So if we only focus on the business side and we only talk about goals, projects, and what they have to do for the company, and we don't talk about these things, these will be questions that they have on their mind, and those will be questions or things that they will think about while you talk about the goals and maybe new projects. And if we don't address this, what happens is that they were going to still think about them while we want them to think about something else. So when we talk about spending time with your people and talk to them often about the things that matters to them, these are some things that matters: money, career development, and growth opportunities. At least these three are quite generally valuable.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that would make a difference between you as a leader and other people, other leaders, and they will see you as a great leader because they don't just talk about, let's say, the normal stuff about the company goals, tasks, whatever activities, and you also show them that you actually care. So this is another topic that to actually make the transition from retaining your employees to including them in the company. um, but another tricky question that usually leaders ask is how to find out what matters to my employees, to my colleagues.
Yeah, I
That's the
thought you were
tricky
gonna ask that. Yeah,
question.
I thought you were gonna ask that. Yeah, so one of the things we have to be aware of is that at the end of the day, our employees are people, right? And people have different interests, and they have different hobbies, and they have different things that are important to them. And as we probably discussed in many of the previous episodes, we cannot assume that people are motivated by the same things that we are motivated, and what's important to us is also important to them. But what we could do is we just making sure that we include some of the what we call to be sometimes small talk or chit chat, or we're talking about things that are not necessarily related to business. So when you have a one-on-one discussion with your people, if you go directly, like you open your whatever goal tracking you have, you open your
Mhm.
Excel file and you look, okay, so where were we now? It's March. Okay, so in March you should be here. Well, okay, so well, wait a minute, like you don't even care about me. I'm just like one of my friends will say, like, you don't care if there's a monkey, a wise monkey doing this, or it's a human being. You don't really care about that. But what you could do is you could include a little bit of,
And
kind of
yeah,
social time, right? What I mean by that is to ask them about, for example, if there is a if this is a Monday, right? On a Monday you could ask them, what did you do, during the last weekend, right? And they'll probably share some things, right? And if they share a lot, then you can probably have a lot of hints about what's important to them. If they share a little, that also say, okay, so they will probably need a little bit more time, or more, let's say, close, or more private environment. So, for example, if you have a stand-up meeting with your team and say, okay, hello everyone, happy Monday. How did you spend your weekend? So people will share at different levels, right? Some will go a little bit more in details, and some will just, oh, that was fine, and they will not give a lot of details. What you need to do is you need to have one-on-one time with these people that are not comfortable in sharing in the
yeah,
group, and still
yeah.
ask them a little bit about their life. So what that tells you? Think about this. What did you do during the weekend? Okay, so it tells you about what's important to them. So if someone say, I spend time with my family, okay, so family is important to them. If they say, I want fishing, okay, so they want to spend time out in the nature. If they say, I was, I was at a concert, or seeing a movie, whatever, that tells you about things that are important to them, because this is not you giving them tasks to do. Weekend is where we actually choose how to spend our time, right? And the choices we make about how we spend our time and money, when something is important to you, it shows up in your day book and in your checkbook, right? or
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
today it shows up in your calendar and in your bank statement, right? On your credit card bill. So if something is important to you, you're going to put time to it. So asking about how did they spend the weekend, it will give you indications about what's important to them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you will find out. I find out about some of the people I work with that they were actually taking, evening classes because they wanted to develop further, and they wanted to have a degree to be an engineer because they were not an engineer. I didn't know that. I had no
Mm.
clue that they were actually studying after work. And
Mm-hmm.
he was one of my colleagues. I worked with him in like about 3 years. I didn't know that, but we had a chat at once. We were in a business trip, and we had some small chat, and I learned about that. But I bet his manager didn't know about it, right? So asking these kind of questions, like, what did you do last weekend? How what are you looking forward to this summer? How would you going to
Mm-hmm.
spend your vacation? And these things actually give you really good indications about what it's important to them outside of the work.
Mm-hmm. Also, I would add here to pay attention to what the what words are they using. Because you also said, okay, I went fishing, I spent time with my family. So fishing is a keyword, family is a keyword, event is a keyword. I did a training. Training is a keyword. So pay attention to this kind of words, small words that you hear from other people, and you might have a clue where to start your discussion with them. And I noticed that also there is, I'm not sure if this is normal way to do for the leaders, but some leaders, let's say, follow people on social media, follow the employees on social media, and
Mhm.
it comes with good and bad things on that. But from a leader's perspective, in this way you can use it for a good cause. If you have an employee who doesn't have, let's say, is not sharing as much as you would like to, so you can start gaining their trust and start having a connection with those people. Try to connect with them on social medias and see exactly what are those things that they usually share. They post comments and things like that. So try to at least create a virtual connection in this situation as a starting point, and then you can build up with something. Or if you don't post or comment on their topics, say when the week starts on Monday, like in our case, I saw that you posted that thing on the weekend on
Mhm.
your Facebook or Instagram. So, can you tell me more about that? I don't know that kind of stuff. Can you share with me something, some more details? And this is a good topic to start a conversation with.
Absolutely.
You
And
have multiple tools. Yeah.
yeah, and you making such a good point, because that's when we can gather intelligence. But there's a caveat there. There is something that we need to be aware of. Like the only, okay, it cannot be the only, but one of the main reasons that
Yeah.
we want to gather that information is to actually know what matters to them. And in
Mm-hmm,
other words,
mm-hmm.
think about it. So you have a very good friend and you want to offer them a present, right? A
Yeah.
birthday present.
Good
One of the
example.
worst thing that you could do is to offer them something that is not valuable to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
So that's the worst.
I also
Like
have
think
the
about
same
think about
problem.
how you feel when someone gives you a present and you think,
That is not something you would like
yeah,
to
what are they thinking? Or actually the question is like, what did I do or what in my behavior gave them the impression that this is something that I would like, right? That's the
or
question that we
another.
should ask ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What did I do? Where did I tell them that this is something that I like, that they thought, okay, I think Madalina will like this? And if you think about people, it's almost like you want to treat your employees like, your best friends, and you want to know exactly what would they love to get for a birthday present.
Mm-hmm.
If you can answer that, you have the keys to their motivation.
Yeah, I actually had this kind of situation, but not that way around, but the other way around. When we gathered together to buy my boss's my a present for my boss's birthday, and it was difficult because we had to brainstorm what does she like. She's not active on social media. We are not friends like BFFs with her, and we didn't know exactly what to buy her, and we actually looked at the way she behaved, the way she dressed, and actually we got a present. But not sure, not even today. I'm not sure that we got the right present. So
Exactly.
it's a tricky part. It implies a little bit of work. So please pay attention to these causes,
Yeah.
to these examples. And if you don't know your employee well enough, talk to somebody who actually knows that person.
Yep.
So, in case the employee is having a very, very good connection with another colleague, and you have a better relationship with that colleague, please try to like a round part. Try to discuss with this colleague who knows the other person better, and then you can have an insight. And
Absolutely.
speaking about presence, you already said that we can look at our employees in that way. So we know them a little better, and we can buy them the right gift. But
Mhm.
are some other stuff that we can show or prove that we actually care, and that we actually value our people, so they know that they matter to us.
Yeah, and I think we've covered. So what we're thinking here, we're thinking about the employee experience, right? So
Mhm.
whatever we want to do right now, in order for us to retain someone, for someone to stay with us, we want to be aware of what is their experience as an employee on our company, on our team, and how can we make that better. Like we do that for customers all the time, and we have now customized, checkout, customized. You get an email from a company or a website you buy from, and they put in that email exactly the kind of items that they know you looked at and you're interested in, right? You see when social media actually shares with us content that they know we're interested in. But
Yeah.
we don't spend a lot of time to thinking about, okay, so how do we make this experience personalized for our people, and we offer that to them. So when we sit with people and we discuss about things that matter, what we can actually do is to ask them a couple of questions. I have three questions here that when I share this with leaders, and I actually put them in also in that guide. Did they share? I think last
Mhm.
time about the guys. So um, if you have not downloaded a copy of this, so 5 strategies to retaining top talent, this is one of them. And so I put in there 3 questions, right? So first question is to ask people what frustrates them, like in your day-to-day activity here, and then being in the office here, like what are the things that really kind of, I will not say piss you off, but almost like, what are the things that bother you, right? Things that we could work on, we can improve upon. And this is what we call to be the motivational factors, right? What are the things that if we will be able to take away, you'll be much more productive. They'll
Mhm.
you will feel much better, right? So because they are, the reason why we want to ask this question is that um, many times there are things that bother us, but we're not going to really, unless we really want to make a change and improve that thing, um, we're not going to take the time to raise the question to the surface. Think about you having a bad experience as a client. If I have a bad experience as a client right now,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
depending on how bad it is or what it is, I don't even spend the time to write a bad review. I just move on. I don't have the time to write a bad review, and I don't like to
Mhm.
do that. So if someone is bothered by something, they might not even take the time to bring that to your awareness. So you don't even know
Mhm.
unless you
Mhm.
kind of ask.
Mhm.
So what is frustrating you, right? What are the things that if we will be working on, it will be much better for you, right? And these are the things that um, drive actions also, like and they are on people's minds. So we want to know what frustrates them, and then we also want to talk about the future, right? We talk about one of the things that is generally valuable is career development and growth opportunities. So after we have kind of figured out, or we have heard a little bit about what they frustrated by, then we want to look at what are some of their dreams. Like when we are able to, one of the best kind of exercise, visualization exercise that I take my clients through is say, okay, so Madalina, if we will be having one of these, let's say we are one on one, like if we will be sitting together again in this room in 2 years time, and we're gonna have a check-in again and discuss, what would you love to tell me that has happened, right? So let's move fast forward, like
Mhm.
2024, June 20th, right? And tell me what happened in the last 2 years, right? Because
Wow. Yeah.
that's another way that helps people to see themselves in the future. If I ask them, what are your dreams? Well, they'll say, well, I don't know. Or people might not see that they have a big dream that they pursue, or they might not be comfortable to share that with you. But when you put them in a situation for them to imagine what would they like to happen in their life in 2 years' time, and now put that in past tense, like this is already happening, it's much more
Mhm.
powerful,
Mhm.
and the mind can actually work with that compared to what are your dreams. But what we're looking
Yeah.
to see where they want to go and what they what motivates them.
That is a way powerful question that I usually use in my sessions, because it's not they trying to create or invent something as their dreams, but you actually put them in the position in the future, looking back. And it's way better that they can actually identify, and this is usually what happens. People easily identify what they really want to do. Some of them would like to start a family by then, or somebody would like to gain a specific position, or to have some specific acknowledgments and accomplishments by then. So it's a very, very powerful question, and you please use these questions, because you said already two questions, and I think you have one more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is the third question? I'm very
Yeah, so I
curious.
think with this exercise you can actually cover both of them, because one is, what are your dreams, but you don't want to ask them directly. You want to use this metaphor. And also,
Yeah.
when it comes to career development, you want to look, where do you want to go? Like, where do you see yourself next? Like, what would be some of the things that you see yourself doing? And for them to kind of verbalize that, because sometimes we create a career path for someone and we believe, oh, I think Madalina would be really good to be in this position. And it happens, like in my case, my mentor and my manager actually have seen better than me. They saw a better career path than I could see myself. But other times it's like, if we don't make sure that we check in with our people, we might create a career path that doesn't fit what they want,
Yeah.
right? And that's why we want to ask them, where do you want to go? Like, what do you see yourself doing next? And put them in that position where they can look back from the future and tell us a little bit about some things that what they would like to see in their lives. And what we do with that information, then the question should follow be, okay, so what can we do as an organization to help you achieve that, right? Because that at the end of the day, if we're able to do that, um, then we have them for life, almost like they will be with the company. I think about a company that, if your company or your manager will offer you a birthday gift that they know actually you value, and it will be exactly what you value, and that birthday gift doesn't need to be expensive. It needs to be something that matters to you more than just to be something expensive. I bet if companies will do that, they will not even need to actually have compensations plans and salary increases that often, or because people, those will become secondary, because you really
Mhm.
value them as individual. So
Yeah, it's
otherwise,
more important. Yeah.
absolutely, otherwise it's more like a transaction. So if we have only a transactional relationship, like you work, we pay you, and that's it, then they could do that anywhere, and they
Mm-hmm.
will look for a better pay somewhere else. And when you cannot offer a better pay, then they will go somewhere else. But now, some companies, that's their strategy, so they always go for higher salary and offer more and more and more. And others go for other things that are more subtle, take more time to identify, but they are much more impactful than just more money. The easiest thing is to give more money. It's okay, it's just a number. You exchange a number, or you change a number in the system, and they get more money in the bank account. There's no energy there. There is no interaction. There is no talk about that.
No connection and personalization. So
Exactly.
one
So
advice, one advice for leaders: try as hard as you can not to treat your employee as a number in a chart. So please, please, please pay attention to this one. And that gets me to the next question, because many leaders, as far as I know, have a lack of time to interact with their employees as much as they would like to, or as
mhm.
much as we would advise them to do. So what can they do as leaders if they don't have enough time to spend with the people, so they find out what matters to their employees?
Yeah, so that's a tricky question, because
Yeah.
if as leaders we believe that we don't have time to spend time with our people, and I know we many leaders actually have multiple roles. So on one
Yeah.
side they have a functional role and a practical role, and also then they are the leader of the team, and they have to split themselves between these two tasks, and usually projects are more urgent. Like, you, if you
Yeah.
don't spend time with Madalina today, she's not going to quit. Maybe not today, but if you do that for 6 months, maybe she's going to quit. But you're not going to see that. It's not like, if one cigarette will kill, no one will smoke. But but but
True.
but people, the one cigarette a day doesn't kill you. Maybe it kills you, but it takes you 20 years or 10 years. So we tend to put aside the things that we feel are not urgent, right? So a
Yeah.
project urgency or a client calling in, it might distract us as leaders, and we're going to go and actually solve that rather than spending time with our people. And that's where we actually really need to be very diligent and understand that at the end of the day, well, there are some things that I need to do myself, but then if I don't care, I don't take care of my people, then customer will probably call in even more often, because our people will not
Mhm.
take care of the customers, right? So I know it's difficult, but unless we break the cycle where we spend time with people, so they then spend time with customers, so we don't have to be in a rush all the time, or extinguishing fires, until we break that cycle, things are not going to change. Because if we focus on projects, and then when we have time, focus on people, I don't think that's the focus. But I know this
Yeah,
is the reality for many people. So,
it is. Yeah.
like 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 any catch 22 moment, we need to break the cycle, and somehow we need to let some things, to suffer a little bit, to take care of people, so then people can take care of those.
And break the vicious circle in this case.
Yeah.
And I would add two things here. First of all, in some companies, I noticed that they, in the onboarding process or in their business process, they have some tasks for the employees to do, especially related to what are their goals, what is their plan, what is their path that they want to develop themselves. So instead of you spending, let's say, 1 hour to discuss with each employee to talk about this topic, ask them to fill up the chart, fill up the form for this one, so at least they have a clue where they are going, where they want, what they want to achieve. And then the second point would be schedule intentionally one-on-one with each individual person, even though it will take you 5 months, 6 months, because you need to put out fires instead. At least schedule the meetings, because people should know that you are looking forward to discuss with them what they achieved, what they found out in that situation. So try to automate as many as you can,
Yeah.
create a process for that, and whenever you can, whatever you cannot delegate, try to be there and to have the one-on-one discussion.
Yeah,
What do you
absolutely.
think? Do you have anything to add, Florin?
No, I think you're right, and it's just to be careful about, kind of too much automation, and when it comes to working with people. So I love the
Yeah, not
part of
not that much, exactly.
yeah, preparing for the meeting.
Agree.
Like in other words, if you set the intention for the meeting, and if you set the agenda for the meeting, then you give them a chance to prepare, and many of
Yeah,
them will want to prepare to know what we're going to discuss, right?
yeah.
So
Hmm.
we do that in our coaching programs as well. Like there is a preparation form that goes out to our clients, so because if they don't think into these questions and they come as a surprise, they will probably not even have an answer. So you're not going to
Yeah.
get a lot out of that meeting one-on-one, unless both of you have had preparation time. So absolutely give them heads up about what you're going to talk and preparation time, but then, spend time and get the context around that. Because if someone
Hmm.
fills in a
Hmm.
form, this is what I want to discuss, well, chances are that you're not going to get everything from what is written, and you still need to get some context. But preparation really, really helps.
Good. I think we already have some tips and tricks for our leaders to follow and pay attention to what we said already and prepare for our next meeting, which is, what is the
Absolutely.
third step?
Yes, we're going to look into what to do now. Like, we look into some of the early signs of disengagement. So before people leave the company, and before we talk about retention, we have to look at those signs, and we actually have to identify when people start to do some things and show up in a certain way that tells us, okay, they might be disconnecting now, and it's just a little
Mhm.
step from disconnecting to quitting. So now we're going to look in the next episode, we're going to look at recognizing the signs of disengagement.
Cannot wait. I will prepare the questions for our next time. Until then,
Absolutely.
have a good week, everybody.
Absolutely. Take care. See you next time.